Hello everybody. Well, let's get started. I'm going to begin with a quick channel update on what's going on, and then I'll get into the comments. First of all, things have been confusing in the last couple of months. There have been more activity for me on YouTube in terms of channels than in the last several years. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 channels now, but probably only maybe 1 or 2 of those are known by most people. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown of just the top 3 or 4 and how I'm going to be using them in the future. First of all, I want to apologize. There's been a lot of mix-up on this particular channel, Softypapa channels. I've been throwing things out here that are not normally part of the mix here. You know, those esoteric commentaries on the universe, and plus a few a lot of music videos and stuff. Not stuff I usually do on this channel. And I'm going to be getting back to my traditional format on this channel, me walking around showing you Japan as I've done all these years. I think I have a home for all that other stuff now. Let's begin with first LylesBrother. LylesBrother is the channel where I'm basically most me, and that's where I basically am free to talk about anything I want. It's kind of like my personal blog, and that's going to remain that way. I'll probably be putting stuff like the music videos and those esoteric commentary things over there. The other thing is the YouTube bullet train. I think that I finally got that thing sorted out. It started off here on Softypapa, moved over to LylesBrother, and then wound up on its own channel. And I think I've got that sorted out how I'm going to be doing that as well. So you won't be seeing the YouTube bullet train content here either. Then finally, there's a new channel, RingingTree. That's going to be the blog. There's people coming off, so you'll have to look up my nose. RingingTree will be as a brand new channel, just started a couple of days ago, and on the suggestion of Yumiko and Emily. They've actually been enjoying getting into this blogging thing, sharing it a little bit with me, especially now. Yumiko, ohayou gozaimasu. Especially Yumiko with her new iPhone. She's been kind of wondering, playing with the buttons and trying to get into the idea of maybe uploading videos herself. And Emily wants to do it too. But they didn't really want to do it all by themselves. They wanted someone to kind of help them out. So we talked about it, and we started a new channel called RingingTree. I'll include a link somewhere, and if you want to have a look, there's nothing there, just 2 videos, 1 scary video of me, and Warmestrat said. And you can have a look at that if you want. We're going to develop that channel over time. I've been told by Yumiko and Emily that it's going to be my job to provide most of the content, and they'll simply upload as they feel comfortable. Remember, they're newbies to the upload experience on YouTube, and so it's going to take them a while to get used to it. But I'm going to teach Emily how to use the camera, and Yumiko as well. Hopefully we'll be seeing some original content from the entire family. There we go. There's some channel updates. Now, let's get on to the comments. First, Macho Irresponsibility video. I was really delighted to see that people seemed to get what I was saying, that I wasn't necessarily offering a criticism of the Japanese men, that I was simply pointing out a historical chain of events that may have led up to the modern condition of the Japanese man, particularly the condition through the Showa period. There are just a few comments I'll go over real quick. Maybe not as quick as I should, but I'll try. It's from Jimera. It's interesting that Japanese men who grew up during the Showa period tend to have such a macho perspective on masculinity, whereas others who posted comments on this video pointed out, so many of Japanese males youth today seem to be readopting a more effeminate point of view. I kind of cut off that comment a little bit, and it's exactly right. That's so true. In the past, and several others alluded to this as well, in the past in Japan, the masculine image, the image of the ideal masculine man has been quite effeminate. If you look at old Japanese art, sometimes it's hard to pick out the men from the women. And this macho persona is relatively, I believe, relatively new, as I specified in, something dropped on me, in the video. And young men, though, I'm talking about the 20s and 30s and stuff, they tend to be far more effeminate. In fact, if you ever see me do my conductor's messages on the YouTube bullet train, I sit on the bench, and there's this picture currently of Kimura-san. He's the most popular male idol in Japan, sitting right behind me. He's like my co-pilot there, he and Warmestrat. And I've had several people say, "Who's that woman sitting behind you?" It's actually a very handsome Japanese man. Okay, let's go on. RWC Bonsai says, the macho This one's hard to read because you kind of string the words together. The macho, without spaces. The machoism armor that men under pressure project in their role as a protagonist and the world that doesn't exist under men are central and in full control of their role is common in all cultures, even in post-war America, which resulted in the women's liberation movement in the 60s and 70s, which totally manifests itself by total domination by women. Okay, it's a little hard to read this. Was there a similar whiplash effect in women's living in Iran? He's basically talking about that men around the world, I believe, if I'm understanding this right, men around the world have this role of the protector and the protagonist, and that their response in terms of the machismo of effect is not limited to Japan. It's elsewhere as well, and that the response of women sometimes can be discovered, particularly noting the effect of what happened in the women's liberation movement in the 60s and through the 80s in the United States. And the question then is, was there a whiplash effect in women's living in Nippon? Not really. There is a feminist movement here in Japan, but it's nothing like what I knew in the States growing up. And women and men still remain very distinct roles here. Moving on, thank you for your comment, by the way. We're moving on. Woodsprout says, petty tyrant, Castaneda. Yes, indeed. Then we have Total Drama Queen 108. What a great name. This is just part of her comment. Could you estimate if there are more Japanese who are full-time housewives or who work outside of the home? Certainly more Japanese women are housewives. The shufu, the Japanese English, that's the Japanese word for housewife, is very common here, and the housewife role is very strong. Peter Arthur says, after marriage, this is just a long comment, so I'm just going to get a few words. After marriage, two passage. Peter Arthur is basically saying there's one complaint that Japanese women, he's noting one complaint many Japanese wives have is that their men are court them before marriage and then neglect them after marriage. And that's a condition that I've heard of many times, that men, and my wife has told me, I've talked to her about it, and she says it's an expected role, that men basically almost ignore their wives to some degree. That's not always the case, again, but it certainly does seem to be a role. It's a part of masculinity to be above emotions in some ways. Moving on. She says Japanese women are attracted to somewhat effeminate men, at least the younger generation. Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm so afraid of time. I still got a lot to do here. Sorry. Panelka? Forgive me if I say it wrong. Of all the macho irresponsible things, I am guilty of the sneeze, in quotation marks. I want to change. Yes, the sneeze. There was a recent Busan Kevin video. Kevin was walking through an area, going through some vendors getting ready for a festival, and somebody let out an enormous sneeze. That's the closest I've seen to that sneeze captured on video. Although I did a video over the weekend called Sneezy Guy on the YouTube Bullet Train. It captured a minor sneeze. It wasn't nearly as good. Oh, where are my paperwork? Oh, by the way, I got comments from people suggesting that I read from the iPhone, and I thought about that, but then I thought, what happens is this is becoming a bit of a little routine in the morning. I print up the stuff, and then I go through and see how it's all marked up. See, I have all the circles drawn and the yellow and stuff, because a lot of these comments reflect comments that made by other people. They become little mini threads within the comments, and I have to keep that in mind to do this. So I think I'm going to continue printing. Soulfury220 says, hey Kurt, when you spoke of the men who wake up in poverty and work hard all day and go out and spend it all next night and do it again the next day, reminded me of a documentary I saw about Japan. It showed these little bars strung along the streets. Yes, and with a few people in it, and you're asking, do I ever see those? And where is that? There's lots of those in Tokyo, and there are a few here in Shizuoka. I have a clip that I took somewhere in my video archive that I need to get out that I haven't published yet, showing just such a thing. And a few people, Bushido Devil Dog replies that it's the Golden Guy near Shinjuku Station, and Jimera also replied that you're thinking of Omoide Yokocho, Alley of Memories, and lots of information there. Great information, guys. Thanks for the follow-up. And then Audio Sport simply said there's macho everywhere. A very good comment. I'm just summarizing. There we go. Finished with macho irresponsibility. I thought I could get through that faster, and now all my papers are falling everywhere. What am I doing here? Did I lose something? No, okay, here we go. Different in Japan. Let's go on to that video. And we're at 9.5 minutes. Different in Japan. And someone asked me, do I drink a lot of coffee before I do this? I do drink a cup of coffee every morning before I leave. I'm walking to work right now. Mostly this speed that I'm doing right now is an attempt to try and get all this in within a reasonable amount of time. I don't want to waste your time. This is different in Japan. Ami Duffer says, is this setup typical of urban schools? This is one where we saw the school that had the little green zone bordering the street and the playground, and there were kids. The kids could play. There was no fence. And no, that setup is not typical in Japan. I've never seen that before. Most elementary schools in Japan are cookie cutter molds. Watch Chibi Maruko. See the anime series Chibi Maruko. See the school she goes to, which is actually just down the road, and it's a real place. And that's the typical school in Japan. Oh, by the way, speaking of road, this is the Old Tokaido Highway, 53 stages of the Old Tokaido. This is it. Karekora says, wow, what time were you there? At my school, parents are up at, basically saying that this person was surprised, he or she was surprised that there were no people, no parents queuing up and marking off their space for the Sports Day Festival. Yeah, I was surprised too. I don't know why. Yuri3457 says, on the topic of differences, where does a Yankee go to get his haircut in Shizuoka? I go to the cheapest place I can find. That's what I get for being a poor cheapskate. Whoa, I dropped my paper. I gotta keep walking. I'm dreading this big street up here. It always looks like a weirdo filming as I walk across the street. Okay, Dreams Love Soul says, do these sports festivals occur around the same time of year and different for each school? Yeah, they're different. My daughter's is in the spring. Some of them are in the autumn. It depends. Agent M83 says, interesting. I like how all of the international flags are up there. I saw the Canadian flag. Yay! And it also wants to know, okay. And then LexMark136 says, oh my God, old people. Ew. Doug T-Bone says, just responded with one of these. Trying to do a frown. The best response that I saw to that, there were a lot of comments about old people and being, kind of creepy around kids. I don't get it. Maybe it's because I'm getting to be an old person myself. But the best response to that came from Jimera, who said, this is a refreshing reminder of the respect and esteem. This is referring to the fact that there were park benches next to the school, and I mentioned that the old people could sit and watch the kids. And some people responded, ooh, old people around kids? That's not good. But Jimera responded, this is a refreshing reminder of the respect and esteem with which the elderly are regarded in Japan, as opposed to some other countries where they are seen as an annoyance or a burden. The old geezer driving slowly in the passing lane. This can work in Japan because of their attitude that one's elders are a source of wisdom and experience and deserve to be supported and cared for, as well as the Japanese sense of community. Bingo! There's a lot of stereotypes in Japan that don't hold up anymore, but this is one that is actually quite true. That it is true that the Japanese revere the elderly. They're treated with more respect. That's not always the case. There's lots of anecdotal evidence of them being disrespected, but that you are right on with that. I love your response. Area Scout says, being an elderly and watching the kids sure brings us back to our younger days. Yep, that might be one. Maybe that's one of the reasons that they do it. Happy 6Y says, in fact, no fence is a pervert-proof barrier, and no one can guarantee a kid won't run out of the fence barrier or run into the street afterwards. We have to teach our kids to be smart and hope for the best. Bingo. Pasty Bob says, wouldn't it be nice if Granddad and Grandma could visit their grandchildren for lunchtime? Oh, I think that would be the greatest thing. Let's see, and Gagenis, and you were somewhere else. You told me how to pronounce your name right, and I'm already getting it wrong. And Andre R241 say something about not having. Oh, they had an interesting conversation about what it's like in Germany. They're both Germans, and they had an interesting dialogue, a subthread about the condition of schools in Germany, which turned into I almost said degraded. Bad. It's turned into German, which I lost. They started talking in German. Interesting. Oh, watch my words. B-Dog, a good friend of mine, says, I got in trouble yesterday for filming in the mall. Ew, I'm sorry to hear about that. They actually said it was a national security threat. Has the United States degraded to that point? Wow, I can't even film in the mall. I doubt the Japanese. And then IVL70 Shampili says, in Japan, I bet I doubt he would have gotten in trouble. I think you're right. I think that the Japanese, at least they would not say anything about it. Last one, at the 14-minute mark, this is going to be the longest comments thread ever. Did I lose my paper? Here's much of your responsibility. Guys, I need help. And it's starting to rain. Good thing my camera's waterproof. Okay, and I forgot my holy umbrella. Dark Yoda says, nice haircut, Marine. Or is it like this? No, that's the Boy Scouts. Yeah. Kantashin 39, I'm butchering your name, sorry. Have you and your family gone back to the States? If so, were you able to adjust to your roots and did everything seem odd? We do go back to the States. And for the most part, I do adjust quickly. But in many ways, I don't adjust. Like I drive on the wrong side of the road. My brother's going, Kurt, you're driving on the wrong side of the road, you moron. And I can't get used to the Americans' abruptness. And I can't stop bowing. Isn't that funny? Unsolved Mysteries 12 says, so yo, I'm new to this YouTube thing. Anyway, I'm asking is your opinion, what is your fave food over there and what can't you get enough of? Oh, that's an easy one. Curry, sasami curry from Tokyo Ichiban. Curry is Indian food, but here in Japan they do it really good. That's not Japanese food. Dreams Love Soul. It's really starting to rain. Was that a train that was going by in the background? You should have turned your camera around for us to see. Indeed, it was a train. And actually, I'm at the train tracks. I wonder if I can show you the train coming now. These are the same train tracks. No train, though. Okay, next time I'll try to remember to show you the train. At least you can see the tracks, eh? Let's see. Yes, I am an alien. Cool name. Looking to not get run over here. I have a question. Do you drink a lot of... Oh, here's the coffee one. Yeah. No, I just drink 1 cup. I am normally quite hyper, though. You don't see that on my normally Softypapa videos. I mentioned before Softypapa, being Softypapa is like drinking warm milk. Total Drama Queen 108 says, is this a stereotype? But I heard that Japanese housewives are one of those people with hot tempers. That true? Japanese parents in general are very good at using anger to discipline their children. And in America, we have the idea, at least I was raised with the idea, that you should never display anger towards your children. But Japanese are very good at that. And yeah, I have heard housewives yelling at their kids from several houses away here. Dave Kaza says, when you speak on Walden, whoa, what the heck? I'm caught. Okay. When you speak on Walden, where am I going? Are you speaking of Walden and the kids, the book by Henry David Thoreau? Yes, indeed. That's the one. Yep. Walden or Life in the Woods. Spooky Yuki says, yes, the dojang is a training hall, much like the dojo is a place to study martial arts. Cool. T-Bone says, Doug says, I enjoy the comments thread and the bullet train, Kurt, but like others have said, I truly miss your leisurely walks in the woods. You know what, Doug? I agree completely, and I really need to get back to that. Let's a few more here. Jimera says, nice haircut, Kurt. I'm looking forward to hearing the story behind it. What was the story? I'll have to save that. I'm making this too long. I'm sorry. What? I'll just say what it is. I went in. I normally get the same guy. I'll do it. What the heck? What's the use of being a partner if you can't have unlimited video and just let it go? Oh, hey, here comes the train. Remember you said you wanted to see the train? Here it comes. Hi, train. That's all. This is the Shizutetsu line bound from Shimizu, bound for Shizuoka, Japan. This is the Shizuoka bound one, and there is the Shimizu bound one, the green one. That's the one that's going to Chibi Maruko's house. Indeed, there you go. We got to see the train. Yay! So let me satisfy the haircut thing. I always go to the same cheap place every time, and the manager always cuts my hair. I don't even have to tell him what I want anymore. I just sit in the chair and he cuts it. I always get the same one. And when I went this weekend, he wasn't around. Well, he was there, but he was attending to a little boy's first haircut. And I actually caught a clip of that on the YouTube bubble chain. So he wasn't available. He had a screaming kid on his hands. So I got some other guy who I told him I wanted it short, and he made it short. I like it. Maybe I'll stick with this. And there's the story. And finally, Chris says, I know I should have said that, having a wife. And oh, he's talking about a lot of people were asking me about picking up girls, which surprised me. You know, I'm an old guy. I found my girl 20 years ago, and haven't never looked ever since. And don't worry, Chris, it wasn't disrespectful at all. I found it rather interesting and a bit flattering to think that I could still have it, but I don't know. Here's where Bargadil corrected me on the pronunciation. Forgive me if I get it wrong in the future. I'm like that. I have a really hard time with these things. Andre says, a little request, can you make a video about the different traffic signs in Japan someday? It would be really nice. Sure, I'll start with this one. Here, this is the stop sign. There we go. And there's lots and lots of others. I'll try to do that if I can remember. Finally, last one. Hashidai Z says, I miss your hikes in the woods. Me too. It seems like it's been a long time since I've been out in the woods, and I need to get back to that, and I will. And thank you guys. I can't believe we're almost at 20 minutes now. This is the longest comments thread I've ever done, and I appreciate anyone who stuck along this long, and I hope you all have a great day. The rain's starting to come down. I don't have my holy umbrella, and I'm going to head on. I'm going to start rushing to school. See you all later. Bye-bye. Have a great day. 20:10. Wow, we made it. 20 mark. Is that an accomplishment, or is that a failure? I don't know. Bye-bye. Where's the stop button?